I didn't agree. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't agree. I didn't agree with any of it. I didn't like the list at all. The whole list. I just didn't like it. Do top 10. Let's see what he said about me though.
All right, guys. Nameless here, and I finally have decided on my top 30.
Why is the quality so garbage?
The later part of it, 30 through 21. So let's get into it, man.
This guy taking too long.
The things that I was looking at was how long the player played, how many championships they got, how many MVPs they got, and basically
how long they played, how many championships they got, how many MVPs they got, how good they were cross game, their individual skill. Okay. Not bad.
And I think I made a pretty damn good list. So let's start it out with number 30. Number 30 is going to be Zoomaa. Now, thinking about Zoomaa...
Go fuck yourself. Fuck you. No, seriously. Fuck you, Nameless. Fuck 30. You gonna put me number 30, bro? 30? 30. You put me at 30, chat. What do you have to say?
And his come up into Call of Duty. In Call of Duty Ghosts, he came out of nowhere, and he was one of the best amateur players in the entire league. And then he won a championship when he went pro. And then from then on out, the guy was just lights out. He picked up 7 different championships. He was part of one of the greatest Call of Duty teams ever in that phase roster that was able to take down the Optic Dynasty. And for Zoomaa, he had a pretty great career. I mean, you think about his career through AW, and then you think about what he did when he went to World War II when he won that championship. Like for Zoomaa, it's been he had a couple tough moments throughout his career, but usually his teams are in the discussion to be a top 4 roster. So for him, he comes in that 30th spot. The guy's done a great job, especially post career. And I think he had some more time left in him, right? So for him, he competed over a long time, picked up some championships along the way, and he left his mark.
I picked up championships. I picked up MVPs. I've beaten dynasties. What else is there to do? But the only thing I don't have is a ring, unfortunately. What are you going to do? But I'm sure a lot of people who are about to be in front of me don't have a ring either. You got to understand, bro. I was a submachine gun player, man. I was at the top of the top playing against the best of the best on the hardest role in the game. And I was definitely at the top of my game for year after year after year. But we'll keep watching.
In at number 29, we have Sam Larue Octane. Now, Sam made the top 30 list. This guy...
I'm better than Octane. It's not even close.
Across, Black Ops 4, dating all the way back to AW, he was one of the best ARs, if not in the discussion for the best AR, which is a span of like 4 games. So looking at him, he came in AW, he was one of the best players in the game. Obviously, there were some way better teams than what he was on, but he did some damage. Then from then, the guy was just absolutely disgusting. Picks up 9 different championships across those 4 titles. I mean, his resume speaks for himself. For Octane, he's finally found himself back in a spot that he really enjoys, and he has a lot of years to move up on this list. But for me right now, I could not put him above the other 28 players that I have listed on this top 30. Coming in at number 28, we have Nadeshot, 10 championships across 3 titles and an X Games gold medal. Now, the X Games gold medal is very important, and those 10...
Hey, chat. He put Nadeshot over me. He put Nadeshot over me and Octane. Listen, I love Nadeshot and everything that he's done. But... I mean, bro, if we're going back to, like what he said, how long they played, how many championships they got, how many MVPs they got that. How good were they cross game? Very good. They're individuals. I don't know, man. I guess you could put Nadeshot up there because he's very accomplished, did a lot, but like, even me and I think Octane at 29 is crazy too, chat, to be honest. I think me and Octane at 29 and 30 is fucking nuts. I think that's nuts.
Championships. He was a part of the OG dynasty, so a couple of those are like, that team was just really, really good compared to their opposition. But looking at Nadeshot, I mean, the guy had a great career. He was very good at Ghost. He had some success in Black Ops 2, and he was just a good player, man. Like, people like to hate on Nadeshot, but if you go back and you watch some of the search and destroy games that he had, the guy was able to take over in certain moments. Like thinking about Call of Duty Ghost, thinking about regionals, they almost didn't make it to champs. If it weren't for Nadeshot going off on that Freight S&D, they wouldn't have made it. So there were moments where he literally single-handedly dominated for the squad to get them into a great position. I mean, he's got a top 4 at the Call of Duty championships. He's got the COD in Ghost, and he's got the COD XP win, which obviously it was a little bit weird with the rules, but he still won that tournament. So what he did in Call of Duty and being a pioneer and having that amount of pressure, no other player in the history of COD outside of Scump has ever experienced the kind of pressure that Nadeshot experienced, and to still pick up 10 championships and an X Game gold medal, really impressive. You got to give him a shout. He deserves to be in the top 30. Anybody who says otherwise is completely wrong. I've watched everyone play, and I know Nadeshot was very good during the time that he competed.
Nadeshot was a beast, chat. Nadeshot does get disrespected a lot. I'm going to be honest. Nadeshot does be getting disrespected. Like, people don't realize he was a big part of the team, like especially in S&D and stuff. And I'm not arguing that Nadeshot shouldn't be in the top 30 either. I agree he should be in the top 30. I just think the way he's placing some of these players, I don't know if this is going to go as exactly as planned, but let's keep it going.
Coming in at number 27, we have Pristini. Now, looking at Pristini's career, he obviously has the World Championship where he won in Black Ops 4, which was a massive prize with Andrew Grant, and then he has the playoffs win in 2019 in Black Ops 4 as well. So they won the back-to-back tournaments, which was huge. And then he has the IW tournament that he won with E United, and he's just been consistent over those two games. Obviously, he's had a tough career in the last two, but for him, that World Championship and how well that he played, and then also being on that EU team that was just so good throughout IW, I had to put him on this list at number 27. I know there's some other players with World Championships, like you look back at Black Ops 2, you look at Killa and Mir and those guys, but for me, Pristini, for having two games where they played so damn good, I have to put him on this list. For those guys, I have them in between my top 30 and 40. But for me personally, I have Pristini on here. I just think that those two games and the level of competition that he was playing at, how stressful it was at, he deserves to be on here after having those two insane games. Moving on, at number 26, we have Proofy, a player with 6 championships across 3 titles, an X Games gold medal, a 2013.
Yo, we gotta turn this shit off, bro. Hey, he has Proofy. Hey, listen, I love Proof. I love Jordan. That's my fucking guy. He put me and Octane under Proofy? Are you serious? He's smoking the good shit. He's smoking some good fucking shit. Where does he live? Because they must got some crazy shit. Holy shit. Of all time. He's just said that he is basing his shit off how long they played. I played longer than Proofy, I think. How many championships they got? I have more championships than him. How many MVPs they got? I have an MVP. I don't know if Proofy has an MVP, but I have an MVP of a whole season. Of a whole season. Not just a tournament MVP. A whole season MVP. How good they were cross game. Was good at every fucking game for the most part. And their individual skill. I was one of the best when it came to individual skill. What the fuck is this? What the heck is this?
And I know Nate shot, but for me personally, I have Pristini. Push it to the World Championship, and then he won an X Games gold medal going into the next game. Their team was in contention throughout the beginning of the game. Like, Proofy has just been a dog, man. He was so good, and people forget how individually talented this player actually was. So for me, I thought about putting him a little bit higher on this list, but he just didn't pick up as many championships as he probably should have throughout his career. But either way, he's a top 30 player. Undoubtedly, unequivocally, he deserves to be here. So Proofy coming in that 26 spot. Number 25, we have Enable. 10 championships across 3 titles. I mean, let me just pull up Enable's career real quick, because Enable, a lot of you guys might forget because he's the funny guy on 100 Thieves, or you maybe didn't watch back then, but this guy was an absolute beast. He came from Halo. He's a multi-FPS legend. The guy won CW Anaheim 2019, CWL London 2019. He won the Pro League playoffs in World War II. I mean, he has a championship in AW, 2 championships in AW, 3 championships in AW, 4 championships in AW, 5 championships in AW. The guy is just absolutely disgusting. He came in and Ghost, didn't have a lot of success. Then from then on out, he was like into the discussion. No doubt. His teamwork, his level of communication that he played at, what he brought to a team, like he brought some intangibles. So for Enable, he 100% deserved to be here. He got dropped from his team in World War II, bounced back, joined another team and won championships. Like, you can't deny this guy. Whether he was good at search and destroy or not, he was an extremely good respawn player. He knew how to win championships with the right squad. So for me, comes in at number 25. Now, number 24, this was super hard for me to place because I thought this guy should be way higher, but he has a lot of time left in his career. He could definitely move up, but for me, it's Kenny coming in at number 24. 5-time champion, 2 champs runner-up placings. The guy deserves to be here. I mean,
like
you look
Kenny
at
here.
His career, and it might not be that long, but he has the back-to-back championships in World War II. Not a lot of people have won back-to-back championships. He's won 5 championships total. He's gotten 2 top 2 placings at the World Championships on the biggest stage. He's just insane, man. And then he has a case where he's the best player in the game. Like, look at World War II. Best player in the game, no doubt, in that TK roster. You look at this last game that we just had, and he, at one point, he was lighting it up. He was looking like the best AR in the world, but his team just wasn't doing too hot. So for Kenny, the individual talent, it has always been there. The championships, they have come, and he's made it there in the World Championships. It's about knocking down that title. Once he gets a world title, he shoots up the list a little bit. But right now, 24, I think is a nice place to have him. Coming in at number 23, we have Hook. 4 championships, 1 world title. Looking at Hook's career, obviously, he's just extremely talented SMG. The guy goes out there and gets it done. He has that world title where he won with the Dallas Empire, where he was one of the better players.
Read the comments. I read the comments after the video.
He's been playing for a while as well. He took a little break because he wasn't 18, but in AW, he was the best player in the game, no doubt. The guy was the scariest player.
How was Hook the best player in the game in AW? How was he the best player in the game? What did he do in AW? How was he the best player in the game in AW? That doesn't make any sense. The 2 top subs in the game in AW, and this is undebatable, was Scump and me. Those were the 2 best subs in the game. It wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. In terms of flashy plays, Kyler was one of the smoothest, flashiest, really hard to play against, a really good player, obviously annoying, but when it came to like raw talent and winning and just getting shit done, it was me and Scump. We were top 2, and it's undebatable. And I put Scump at number 1 because I just think Scump throughout the whole AW year was just so good. He was so raw from start to finish. I think the second half of the year, I had Scump's number. And that's just me being honest. But I think overall, Scumpy was number one for sure. Scumpy was number one. I'm number two. And then, dude, I guess Hookah number three, but he was not the best player in AW. That's for sure.
Ever played against an AW. Not many people have gotten to that level of skill.
Multi-FPS talent right here. And looking at Hook's career in Call of Duty,
picked up 4 championships as well. World War II was a great game for him. Obviously, last year, a little bit of turmoil. Looking at his bounce back, though, he has a huge opportunity with LAG, so he can move up here on this list. But individual talent and just the eye test watching Hook, I was able to put him a little bit higher on this list. And a lot of you guys might have him, and that World Championship gives him credit to back his name. But looking at Hook, I think this guy has a long career ahead of him. I think when it's all said and done, he'll be a top 15 player. But right now, he comes in at 22 or 23.
What the fuck did we do right there in that play? What were we doing, bro? We were getting shit on. Hook just shit on.
When it's all said and done, he'll be a top 15 player.
Bro.
But right now, he comes in at 22 or 23. Okay, now coming in at number 22, we have Bance, 2-time champs runner-up, 12 second place finishes, and he's a 3-time champion. Now for Bance, 12 second places is freaking unreal. 2 champs runner-ups, and 3-time champion, and what he's done with the Toronto Ultra. Bance deserves to be here. He has the EU on his back. He's got to be the greatest European player of all time. And think about the European scene and how tough it has been to compete in that scene in the come up of Call of Duty. They weren't as developed as NA. They had some catching up to do. But Bance, he's seen so much success for a guy who's had seemingly a target on his back at times where he's been the player prone to the bad game. He's rose above that every single time with these rosters that haven't been superstar studded out the gate. You look at him on paper, the teams never look like they're going to go out and dominate, but he wins matches. And I think that sort of tenacity and that mental.
No MVPs, no ring, 3 championships. Listen, I got love for everybody in this video. I think everybody in this video is amazing players. But I am getting this whole list makes no sense at all. This list has zero, it doesn't make any sense. It's all over the place. It makes absolutely no sense. That's why he said he keeps contradicting himself. I gotta rip this buff bar.
State to be in where he can just focus and get it done and have success with these teams that aren't set up for greatness is impressive. So for me, Bance, he is in that 22 spot, the greatest EU player of all time, and he has a great resume to back it up as well. Coming in at number 21, we have Big Timer. Now, a lot of you guys think that he should be a little bit higher than he is.
What? Big Timer? He retired at 21. He retired at 21 years old. Oh Maron, I can't believe this just keeps getting better and better, chat. This just keeps getting better and better. What the fuck am I watching? What am I watching? Oh my God.
Like top 10 all time. He's not a top 10 player all time, I'll tell you that, but he is in the top 30 and he comes in at 21. He's a 12-time LAN champion, 3-time online champion. He's the COD XP champ and he's a pioneer. I mean, Big Timer was so talented. He was one of the versatile players who can do it with any weapon. One of the first to be able to do that, by the way, and he was the best player on his team for quite some time. So for Big Timer, comes in at 21. He quit before he, I think he quit a little bit too early. He just wasn't having as much fun. I think he could have had some success throughout Ghost, but for him and what he did in those early days of Call of Duty, I mean, best team in the game. Like it was like them and Leverage, and for Big T, he was going toe to toe. Had some time teaming with him in COD 4. He was even disgusting at that game. One of the best players, if not the best player at a point. So for Big Timer, comes in at number 21. Just being a top 3 player for like 3 years, you deserve to be on here. So an absolute pioneer. Everybody show some respect. If you don't know who Big Timer is, you maybe never watched his.
He said being a top 3 player for 3 years. I was a top player for over 8 years. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. Bro, this is disrespectful to even people like Octane and shit, and Kenny, and those guys too.
Gameplay, go back and try to find what you can on YouTube. Just type in Big Timer Call of Duty and there'll be a ton of videos to watch. So shout out to him. Respect out to the OG coming in at 21. Anyways, that's going to do it for 3321. Let me know what you guys think.
But you weren't top 3. Ghost, I was top 3, without a doubt. When I first came into the scene, I had every single team in my DMs, every single team, including fucking Complexity and EG with Krim and 8, the Dynasties and shit. They were all fucking hitting me up. Ghost, I was up there. World War II, I was easily top 3. AW, I was easily top 3. What are you saying, bro? MW, I definitely think I got overshadowed in MW. I was fucking gross at MW. Gross. People just don't like the fucking. They don't look at they only look at every. Bro, every year, chat, I have placed top 3 in every single title. I have gotten a top 3 placing. I have gotten first place. I have gotten a trophy in 4 different COD titles. 4 different COD titles, 7 championships, MVP. I've placed top 3 in every single game since I went pro. I've gotten a top 3 placing. I don't know about Ghost. They were insane players. At the end, no, when I came into the scene and I was a rookie in Ghost, when I started Ghost, I came in halfway through Ghost. I was a top sub, if not the number 1 best sub in the game. Every single team wanted to play with me. Every single team. When I came into the scene, I was smoking people so bad. I was so annoying to play against. Bro, it's not even close. Chat. I'm like the most. I'm like the most. I just like to say it how it is. You know, I'm not trying to be cocky. I'm really not. But this list just makes no sense. I'm gonna be honest. It makes absolutely no sense.
Now, I know that this is going to be a controversial video. I know anytime you make a video about top players all time, people are going to not like it. There's going to be players who think they should be higher. There's going to be fans who think their favorite players should be higher. But this is my opinion. I use the criteria that I told you about in the beginning of this video. And I think I put these guys in the general vicinity where most people should think they are. But this is where I believe these players rank. In the next video, we will go down 20 to 10. It'll be lit.
All right, let's go down to the next video now.
All right, guys.
He said I'm using the things that we showed in the beginning of the video, but he didn't use the things he showed at the beginning of the video. It makes no sense. He put somebody with 3 championships that played for 3 years over people with 6, 7 championships and MVPs and all kinds of shit. You know, the comments. Yeah, you guys want me to read the comments? What do the comments say? Octane and Zooma's individual talent should have them higher on this list, maybe low 20s. That's good guys. I'm gonna be honest, this list is very good. Have to admit, this list is garbage, bro. Very solid list. Good list. Octane was too low. You should be at least 20 seconds ahead of Bent. Pristini ahead of Octane. Did you judge or rank yourself? Nayshaw being higher than Octane. Zoomaa is wild. He's never been as good as either of them. Nayshaw was pro way before Zoomaa. You can't say that. Nayshaw from Black Ops 2 to AW was never a superstar caliber player or anywhere on Zoomaa's level from Ghost to MW. Just because he came before him doesn't mean anything. Agreed, but what does him playing before me have to do with anything? What does that mean? That's an L comment. We'll thumbs that down too. What else is here? List is great, but I know you did not just say Hook was the best player in AW. AW Scum was the best player ever. But the whole list was a bunch of fucking. I didn't agree. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't agree. I didn't agree with any of it. I didn't like the list at all. The whole list. I just didn't like it. We're gonna keep the playback speed at 1.5, and we're gonna keep it moving. Let's keep it going.
Nameless here, bringing you guys a brand new video. Now, today we're gonna be doing part 2 of the top 30 players of all time. Now, number 20 is gonna be Josiah Berry, my boy Slack. I mean, he's an 8-time land champion, 5-time runner-up. The guy has 30 plus top 4 finishes, over 7 titles. Like, Slack was consistently in contention for being on to be a top team throughout years. He picked up a ton of championships over like 7 years. The guy was just competing with the best and the best of them, right? Like his team was always a threat. I remember when I first learned about Slack, and I actually teamed with him in Black Ops 2, and he was an absolute beast. At hardpoint, he was one of the best SMGs. He just had great placings, man. He was always on a solid team, and for me, he 100% deserves to be on this list. He has gotten more hate than most Call of Duty players will ever experience throughout their entire career, and I think it's unnecessary. I don't think he deserves the hate that he gets for a guy who's had such a fantastic career. Just go to his COD wiki page, look how long he's competed, and look at his performance over a ton of events. He absolutely deserves to be in this 20th spot. Now, number 19.
I don't mind. I know a lot of people don't like this. I don't mind Slack being up on the list. I don't. I feel like Slack is a really good player. He brings a lot of intangibles to a team. In terms of like Slack being like a superstar that just takes over games, like I don't know if he was that type of player, but he was a really good teammate to have, and he knew how to play COD the right way and win. So I like Slack being up on the list. I like Slack being up there. But ahead of you, listen, I'm not gonna say anything. You know, in terms of where I should be on the list, I'm not going to state that anymore because I put my opinions on how I was as a Call of Duty player. But let's keep going through the list to see what else he's got.
We have Big Joey D, Joe DeLuca, 13-time land champion across 3 titles, champs runner-up. Obviously, I was on his team during that one. Then 27 plus top 4 finishes. Think about that, 27 plus top 4 finishes. The guy's just an absolute beast, man. He's won so many tournaments. Obviously, he played way back in the day, and then he stopped earlier than I thought he should have. He could have kept on competing. So for Joe, I mean, being part of that Optic team, or the original squad that just did so much damage, and then in MW3, we didn't have so many tournaments, and he was one of the best players in the game. Like Black Ops 1, COD XP, all these games where Joey D was front.
Listen, bro, I'm gonna be honest. If we're counting MW3 tournaments and like counting like some of these fugays, like some of the shit that Crim counts, and some of the events that people count, chat, what are we counting and what are we not counting? Like, I don't understand. Because if that's the case, I'm counting PSX. Add my PSX win to the list. Because what was different between PSX and an MW3 tournament? What was the difference? What was the fucking difference? I know there's a lot of MW3 tournaments where, like, half the NA teams weren't even there. They weren't even there. So then what's the difference? You might as well put us up there for winning PSX. You might as well put that one to the fucking standing, too. Why doesn't anybody count that? Because not every team was there? Okay, well then I'm taking away half of people's championships if that was the fucking point, you know?
He absolutely deserves to be in the top 20. For him,
am I getting fried? Yo, Ant, you're in the chat. Yo, Ant, this lit, bro. You're top. First, Ant, I've only went through 20 through 30. It might have been. Listen, Ant, I love you. You're my fucking guy. You know, it's always a pleasure to have you in the chat. This might be one of the worst lists I've ever seen, and I'm gonna be honest, bro. It might be one of the worst.
Still stack up so well achievement-wise, like against all these other players, is so impressive. So Joey D coming in at number 19 on the list. Number 18, we have Parasite. Now, Parasite is a 9-time champion. He has a world championship and a 10-year tenure. Now, I know the last few years he's been in challengers. He's been dominating challengers at times. He's been up and down, but he's been doing overall well in challengers, right? Like, he survived and he's done some good things there. And then when he was a pro player, obviously he was part of...
How old is Parasite? How old is he? How old is Parasite? We'll let him have this one. He's 26, so he's my age. 27, 26, so he's my age. He competed in the same... basically the same time period as me. He got his ring before me. We competed in the same time period. Parasite wasn't on my level. He wasn't even close.
That Burrito Impact team did so well
just be honest.
and won a world championship 4 in a row, and then he left, joined Unite, and won a tournament there, and then he left and joined FaZe and won a tournament with them. Like, Parasite's had a fantastic career. In WWE3, I thought that he was an unbelievable player as well. We won 2 tournaments in that game when I was on his team. I thought he was the best player in Black Ops 2 for a time, so individual skill factored into where I placed him. So for Parasite, I have him coming in at number 18 as well. I think that he just deserves to be here in the top 20, and he still has more time. Maybe he'll make the miraculous comeback. Who knows? Coming in at number 17, we have Celium. He's an 8-time champion, top 10 overall stats since he came into the league across 2 titles. World champion. Right, world champion.
I like
Let's
this.
not forget that.
MC
and he's also
should be in here.
Runner up. Now I'm looking at this guy's page. Okay?
MC's better than me.
Seeing when he came into the league,
He's way better than me.
Right, and what he's done in such a short
MC's
span
an animal.
is just ridiculous. To me, I think FaZe is absolutely a dynasty at this point. That's across 2 games where they've been winning tournaments, top 2 at champs.
You finally
World
got one
championship.
right, Nameless.
Celium, major part of that in the
Motherfucker.
equation. Shot up the list like a firework, man. He's 100% one of the best players to ever do it in such a short span. I mean, you look at him, comes in, their team is so nasty. Obviously, he's not one of the best teams in the game, but he still shines, right? So for Celium, number 17, wouldn't put him anywhere else. Number 16, we have Rambo Ray. Now, Rambo Ray is number 16 on my list because he's a 7-time champion across 2 titles, 2 champs finals appearances. He's a pioneer and a world champion coach, right? Let's ignore the coaching part, obviously, because we're talking...
What? No MVPs. Same championships as me, no MVPs, no rings, no nothing. In terms of how long we played. Hey, bro, what a pioneer. Nemus, are you putting people up here because they're pioneers? Does that mean in 5 years from now, I'm going to be a pioneer? What the fuck is this? Listen to it.
About his performance as a COD player, I just had to throw that in there. But as a COD player, now he doesn't have as many accolades. Still very decorated. I mean, 7-time champion, across 2 titles, 2 champs finals appearances. That's really good. But he was the teacher for so many COD players. I mean, for that Optic team, he was basically the coach and captain of the squad who taught them how to play the game. He taught me how to play the game, study how to play the game. All these players, he basically pioneered a generation of Call of Duty talents. And for that, he 100% deserves to be on this list. And
if you put Rambo on this list, and I'm listening to what you just said, is Crowder on here? Is Crowder going to be in the next top 15? Is Crowder anywhere on this list? With everything he just said about Rambo, is Crowder on this list? Yeah, is Crowder here? Crowder better be on this list, eh? He better be on this fucking list. If replays isn't on here, then everything you just said is invalid.
And 16, I think, is the perfect spot for him. Just doing what he's done for Call of Duty, it's unmatched, man.
Ray has more chips. Ray has the same amount of chips as me. He has the same amount of chips as me, eh?
Modes that we didn't know how to play. Back in the day, we were just running around trying to get kills. I mean, you think about Black Ops 1, what he was able to do there, and then MW3. It's just all these games. This guy was just so good. But anyways, coming in at number 16, we got Rambo Ray. Coming in at number 15, we have John, champs MVP, 10-year tenure with a couple breaks, but 8 championships, 2 challengerships, and a world title. Did I forget world championship MVP? John dominated that entire tournament. He was lighting it up for the entire time. If you remember, he joined that team after
way better than
Slasher
John.
and JCap. They dropped Aches and TP. They picked up John and Apathy. John turned into an absolute unit.
John
Versatile
didn't
with any
touch
single
me.
weapon in his hands. He was dangerous.
He didn't touch me.
He just lit it up, man. So for that, I mean, individual skill as well. Across a couple games, he was so good. Black Ops 1, people forget, John was an absolute beast. I mean, he was a little kid coming into the league, just absolutely flying. I think he was like one of the youngest pro players we had. Dominating, winning championships. He won a championship in that game. So for John, his tenure, his world championship.
I'll give him John. I'll give him John, though. I'll give him John because John was a sub player. He played a really tough role. He has a ring, right? He has multiple championships. I'll give it to John because he deserves to be up there. This is around the area where I think I should be. Anywhere from 15 to 20, like around here where John is, where some of these guys are. This is where I would put me. I would put me right around here, like around John. Even if you put me like above John or under, like right around here, this is where I would put me personally. But I don't know. John was definitely a fucking beast at Black Ops 3.
Number 14, we have Attach, the iciest player of all time. When it's in a 1v1, that's the guy you want in there. Besides individual talent, his 10 years has been insane. 7-year tenure. He was a championship in 5 of those games that have been out in those 7 years. He's an 8-time champion, world champion. The guy, I mean, it was him and Clay MVP duo at that world championship. He's still winning chips. He won one last year with the Minnesota Rocker, with the Minnesota Rocker miracle that happened with the reverse comeback. He's just had some spectacular moments in the history of Call of Duty. And when he starts to fall out of that fold of being on a top team, he always creeps his way back in, builds a good roster. He's a foundation of a team, and it's hard to come by. So Attach 100% deserves to be here. Number 14 is where he comes up for me. He still has an opportunity to shoot to that top 10. Number 13, we have Slasher, Austin Litico, one of my good friends, one of my best friends in the Call of Duty scene. He's a 7-time champion, world champion, and a champs runner-up. He has so many great moments in Call of Duty history. Won the Black Ops 3 World Championship with that squad. They won the event right before it. And then you look across the board at his statistics. I mean, he's just been a lights-out AR player. One of the best AR players of all time. Definitely in the top 5. And then you look at his list. I mean, outside of his first place, I mean, the guy has like 50.
I like the Attach and Litico. I like where they are. I like that. I think I should be around here. I think I should be where Attach is, Slasher is, John. Like, this is where the fact that me and Octane are 29 and 30th compared to these guys, it just makes no sense. It just doesn't make sense.
20, like nearly 20 second place finishes. And then you look at his run with the 100 Thief team that he had in Black Ops 4. He was unbelievable during that time. Then he has his run when he was on that Envy team, super good during that time. Then he has his AW squad where they were disgusting while the guy was building robots. They were still coming out and getting top 4 placings. Unbelievable player. Comes in at number 13. He's super decorated and he's still going. So for Slasher, that's where he deserves to be. Coming in at number 12, we have the big man himself, Arcides. The guy is a world champion, a 9-time champion, a 5 times runner-up. He's been on some of the best teams in Call of Duty in the last few years. He's been the captain of his squad now going in. I mean, he's basically leading the young guys and getting them to figure it out. And he comes in, immediate impact, they win a world championship. So Arcides, I mean, the ability that this guy has to use any weapon and go off, to also in every single game mode basically be the foundation of the squad. Sort of like when you get down to this level, when it's the top 15 players, these are the do-it-all type of guys, right? These are the guys who join a squad and they have an instant impact. And when they're in their prime, like Arcides right now in his prime, it's going to be extremely tough for him to not be on a top 2, top 3 team. Like, he's just always going to be in there. He's just so good. He's got such a good voice at calming the rest of the guys down and figuring out how to get past obstacles when the team isn't performing, at making players like Simp and Abizi better. Like, when you have those superstar SMGs, you need a player that can complement them and make their play style work even better. And Arcides is that guy. He joins the team and he makes your superstars better while still putting up his own stats at the same time. So world champion, 9-time champion, 5-time runner-up. Gotta throw Arcides up there.
Honestly, I haven't disagreed with him in the last couple minutes. I like the list so far. Like, the last couple minutes, like the last 3 or 4 have been good.
Coming in at number 11, we have Tyler Polchow, TP, the man himself, 20-time champion, world champion, 3 top 4 world championship placings, guys. Like, the guy got to the top 4 3 times. You know how many people have done that? Not many, unless they're the guys who have like 2 or 3 chips in it. And we're talking Karmas, we're talking Clasers, Crim Sixes. Like, TP was doing this for so long. Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, Ghost.
The monster.
The guy's just so damn good at Call of Duty. And people forget, if you didn't watch back then, what he was doing for his squad. He was the guy who would do all the dirty work. He played objective to a T. When that was a role in Call of Duty, TP was the model player for that role. People copied how he played. We used to join teams and be like, we need a TP. We need somebody who's going to play like Tyler. And he's number 11. The best ever do it in that role. Did so much damage with that team with Aches and them. Just an amazing player. The best duo of all time. Well, top 2 now, I guess, if you're counting like Simp and Abizi, Formal Scumbo, what they were able to do. Top 3 duo of all time. TP and Aches, unmatched. TP deserves to be in an 11. And honestly, I contemplate putting him at number 10, but it's tough because now when we get into the top 10, you're looking at people who've won multiple world championships or the people who are just insanely, freakishly talented with the accolades to back it up. So for TP, comes in at number 11 for me, but damn, I wanted to put him higher. That is going to do it.
So no Crowder. No Crowder on the list. Interesting. That's very interesting. They didn't put James Crowder replays, but they put Rambo. Or he put Rambo. That's very interesting to me. But let's keep it moving on to the top 10.
Sam is here bringing you up.
Listen, I agreed with some of it, but most of it I did not. So far, his 10 through or his 11 through 30, I don't like it. I definitely don't like it. I don't think he's anywhere near the ball. My list would look completely different in that ballpark from 11 to 30th. My list will look completely different. Maybe one day we will do a list, but I think I got to put a lot of thought into this. But in terms of that, no.
What is going on, guys?
I didn't like it at all. Now, this is the top 10 players of all time. This is who Nameless has in his top 10. Let's see how it goes.
We're bringing you guys a brand new video, baby. Let's get it. We are now down to the top 10 Call of Duty players of all time. Now, I know it took me some time to release this video. Hey, man, but it's finally here. So drop what you think in the comments below. We'll have some more videos coming soon. But first, I got to do a quick plug. So thanks to you guys and all my fans and people who supported me over the years. If you guys want to vote for me and support me even further, it'll be a great time being with the people who just do great things for this industry. And then also, we have amazing teammates. A lot of success together, but he was an amazing teammate, super driven, always ready to go the extra mile in practice.
I like
and the guy had a ton of success. I mean, he competed for a long time, dating back to like Black Ops 1, where he was pretty dang good. But think about App's career. I mean, he has 2 world championships. He's a 6-time champion, a 9-year tenure with like 1 break in between that. Like, the guy had a crazy career, and at world championships is when he was at his best. So given his individual skill and how good he was at his peak in like Black Ops 3 and those games, he was so damn good. Having 2 world championships, and I personally think he was the best player on that EG roster as well, that went off and won that champs unexpectedly. Having 2 world championships, he had to be in the top 10. So for App coming in at number 10, 10. Hell of a career, and it'll take a lot for somebody to come in and overtake his spot at number 10.
He's a good
That's where he's
player.
going to be at on my list. At number 9, we have J-Cap. Now, everybody knows J-Cap competed for a hella long time, and J-Cap, 2-time world champion, 2-time champs runner-up, so he has 4.
Scump said, how Ant gonna use me as a thumbnail, then disrespect me? I haven't even... Seth, where are you on this list, bro?
champs finals appearances, 9-time champion, like 4
You
times.
better be at least
J-Cap
top
made it into
2.
the world championship final.
At least
That is
top
insane.
2.
It was like the world championship at one point was synonymous with J-Cap's name. You knew he was going to be up there in some fashion, and if he was there, he was more than likely going to win it. He did it with so many different players, and he was just a great player from start to finish. I mean, he was competing with the best of them in every single game. When you think about Respawn and how to play it and the strategies that were involved in Hardpointer and CTF, it was J-Cap. He was the most, this is facts, guys. This is absolute facts. He was the most fundamentally sound Call of Duty player we have ever seen grace the sticks. Ever. In the history of Call of Duty, he is the foundation. He was the model of fundamentals. When you had to learn what you needed to do as an AR player, he was the guy that you watched. Your favorite player watched J-Cap. Your favorite player tried to emulate what he was doing in certain game modes. When they were in a rut, they were like, how is J-Cap being so consistent? Now, towards the end of his career, yes, he was a little bit of an inconsistent player in terms of slaying and getting the kills. Once the talent got a little bit better and he fell off a little bit, but he was still placing well. People would count him out, say he sucked. What would happen? He would make it to a finals, or he would win, or he put himself surrounded by players who would catapult him to a victory. So for me, J-Cap, absolutely a top 10 player of all time. Number 9, fundamentally sound, deserves to be on this list. Number 8. All right, so number 8, we have Abizi, and it's just insane, these FaZe guys, like how fast they shot up the list and where they have to be. I mean, you look at Abizi, this guy's an 8-time champion, like 2-time world champion, champs runner-up. He's just an unreal talent, man. He's only been playing for 3 years. 3 years, and this guy has already done that. Like, think about Abizi and what he's able to do on the map. I don't think there's ever been a player outside of maybe Scump who's been that good of an entry player in their prime, and he's been doing it for 3 years straight. Abizi is so good, and for that individual talent, and he already has the accolades to back it up. Like, he has the amount of championships a lot of these guys do in the top 10. He absolutely deserves to be here. And I know a lot of people are like, well, where do they fall out on the top list? Well, they're already top 10. It's indisputable. You look at this guy's statistics and what he's been able to do individually on his team, the championships they have at world championships, everything. The boxes are all checked. He 100% deserves to be on the list. Number 8, Abizi. And his teammate, the Tiny Terror duo, coming in at number 7, it's Simp. Now, I personally think when it is all said and done, Simp will be the GOAT. As long as Call of Duty continues to have esports for years and years and years, Simp will end up being the GOAT. I don't think this guy has any chance of slowing down.
Animal,
where Call of Duty is right now, it's at a point where these guys, their ability to play longer is just going to get longer and longer. They have the facilities to support them.
The fact that Abizi and Simp average in the last 3 years from them coming up, they have 2 rings already in just 3 years. They average a placing of top 2. Like, their average placing is top 2. Like, that's fucking insane, bro. Like, that's insane. Like, Abizi and Simp have to be in this top 10. And I do think as time goes on, I think they're going to go higher and higher up on the list if they continue to do what they're doing. But they still have a lot more COD to play. So we'll see how it goes.
Them support the long schedules they have, the grind schedules they have. I mean, they have people that are making them food, right? Like, they have nothing to worry about other than Call of Duty, and I think that it puts them in a position to succeed. So for Simp, I mean, 2-time world championship, 2-time world champion, literal best in the game, multiple time MVP, and an 8-time champion overall. Like, there's good people that are making them food, right? Like, they where these guys, their ability to play longer is just going to get longer and longer. They have the facilities to support them, support the long schedules they have, the grind schedules they have. I mean, they have people that are making them food, right? Like, they have nothing to worry about other than Call of Duty, and I think that it puts them in a position to succeed.
So for Simp, who are making them food? What?
2-time world championship, 2-time world champion, literal best in the game, multiple time MVP, and an 8-time champion overall. Like, there's going to be so much more added to this list. So for right now, he comes in at number 7. At number 6, we have Paddy Aches. Let's go, man. Aches, this guy has, what, 18 plus championships. He played for 8
Pat
years.
Is 2-time
world champion.
I was smoking this fucking... Pat never had anything on him. I was smoking this fucking guy. Smoking him.
Time and time again. I mean, the villain, just the amount of pressure that Aches dealt with opposed to most other players. I mean, it was ridiculous. He talked so much crap. He's an outspoken figure in our community.
No, Illy. You didn't put Illy in a top 30. He didn't even put Illy in this shit.
He was a part of that Cole dynasty, and he was at the forefront of it. And the reason Aches is at number 6 is because he has the accolades to back it up, but his individual skill was just ridiculous. He was an absolute animal. You know, I have to give him the shout out. In Black Ops 2, the guy was unreal. Ghost, the guy was unreal. Case for best player in the game in Black Ops 2 and in Ghost. And honestly, in Black Ops 1 as well, there was a case for him to be the best in the game. So at least at some point. So for Aches, getting it done time and time again. And then when people counted him out most, I mean, you think about when he went to that FaZe team and he had that crazy win where he came back and with a messed up hand and won the championship against the OG dynasty. And then you think about how he
had a little cut right here, a little tiny cut. Didn't do anything to him.
Won the world championship with EG, and nobody thought that was possible. Aches is just that villain, man, who always got it done, and he's such a legendary player. So coming in at number 6, I have Paddy Aches. Number 5, we have Formal. You guys saw my video on Formal retiring. I think very highly of this guy. 25 plus championships, world champion, champs, MVP. Has accolades to back it up.
I like Formal number 5.
He was on my team where he was the best player in the game. It just seemed like when Formal entered the scene, he was the best player in the game. At some point, for like 3-4 years, he dominated. When OG was having those issues, when they weren't winning championships and they had that stigma of not being able to win a world championship, he went out and said, all right, I'm just going to go off and just put this whole statement, everything to bed. And he had an MVP performance like none other. I've never seen an individual performance as good as Formal at IW Champs. And for that, he is in the number 5 spot. Formal, absolute phenomenal player, unreal talent, number 5. At number 4, we have Scump, 30 plus championships, world championship, multiple MVP.
How is Scump at number 4? How do you have the king of COD at number 4? How do you have everything that you put in the beginning, everything that you put in the beginning of that top 30 list, right? The rings, the talent, the longevity, bro. To do what Scump's doing, playing the submachine gun role, bro. People also don't remember like what roles people played and what they did. The top 3 have 3 rings. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? This guy, bro. What? Scump, it has to be in the top 3, and he has to be at least. He has to be in the top 3. He has to be. He's literally, like, bro, Scump is one of those players that nobody would pass up on. Bro, I'm guessing your top 3 is going to be Clay, Krim, and Karma. I'm guessing that's going to be your top 3 because they have 3 rings. Bro, if you put Clay, Krim, Karma, and Scump in a room and you're making a team and you have to choose one, who are you guys choosing? It's just as simple as that.
He's 10-year tenure. The guy's been competing forever, and he's been competing with in the hardest role to like stay that good at for that long. Like he's been an SMG player who's had to be like the go-off superstar player, and he's been doing it for a long time. Like he's had some stints in his career where it hasn't been as great. But you gotta think about the feat that this guy's accomplished. 10 years, guys. He's been that guy. I've counted Scump out. Plenty of people have at times, and he always surpasses what you think of him. You'll say he wasn't a good search player. Well, what'll happen? He'll be like the best search player for a 3-month period. You'll say that his respawn spawn off, and then he'll turn up and drop a 50 on the best team in the game. Like Scump is just the guy who he's a freak, man. He has a freak talent, and he's able to continue it into each game. And he will consistently be on a team that people think can compete for a championship because of how good he is, and he makes the people around him better as well. So for Scump, number 4, his career is insane. I remember when he first came into the Call of Duty scene back in MW2, and he was.
Bro, if you're ranking rings that high, then why is Pristini in 20 to 30? If we're actually taking rings and we're looking at rings and we're like, oh, you know, rings mean that's like so fucking much, then why the hell is Pristini so fucking far back then? If rings mean that much.
Scumper jumper, and he was frying with the ACR, just dominating across map. It was just crazy, man. I played with him a little bit at the beginning of Black Ops 1. He was the best player in that game too. Best player in like MW3, best player in so many different games. It was Scump. So he is number 4 on my list. A couple more world championships, and he made
Clay, Karma, and Krim. And nobody's saying Clay, Karma, and Krim aren't insane, eh? They're hell yeah, they're insane. They're all top 5. I just don't agree with Scump at number 4, and that's it. I just don't agree with it. I just don't think he should be number 4. I think Scump, what he brings to the table as a team. Like, you got to remember, Krim won one of those rings with Scump. So did Karma. Like, Scump, what Scump brings to a team, bro, is very hard to find. It is very hard to fucking find. I'm going to be honest.
Somewhere. But number 3, this is reserved for an elite club. All right, this is the 3-time world championship club. We got Clayster coming in at 3 world championships, 10-year tenure, 20 championships. The old man does it time and time again. He's surrounded himself with great players. He's been a great player. He is just unbelievable, man. This guy as a leader, he's so good. He's the underdog every time. And what's special about—
and we're talking about rings. Crowder has a ring. He wasn't even in the top 30. Crowder has a ring, and he's not even in the fucking top 30.
Him as well, on top of the accolades that he has, is the situations that he gets put in and how he's able to rise above it,
and he
still
has
have
more
success.
wins than Pristini.
It takes a lot of mental fortitude to do that, and a lot of people aren't built for that. The guy's just he thinks differently than everyone else. He has to, otherwise he wouldn't have had this much success. So big shout out to Clay coming in at number 3. That's my boy. Number 2, we got Karma, 3-time world championship. He's been a part of like the 3 dynasties is what we call them in 20 chips. I mean, I guess a lot of people called Farico Impact a dynasty, but when you really look at the statistics, it wasn't actually one because it was only 4 titles in a row, but people did call them like a dynasty. So I'm putting the 3 dynasties, which is Complexity, Optic, and then Farico. He's been a part of all 3 of them, and he won championships with all 3 of them, and he won a world championship with all 3 of them. There's a constant with when you think about these world championships in that
Damon's
time,
and
it was like
beast,
Jacob, Karma, Krim. Those are the 3 guys, and Karma has 3 of them. He deserves to be here. He was the MVP in Black Ops 2. He was an integral part of both those rosters when you look at Complexity, and then when you look at OG. Everybody wanted them on their team, and he had such an unorthodox play style where he just flustered other teams. Nobody really could ever understand how he played the game. He was an extremely intellectual player. He could slay. He could play objective. He switched his role around maybe more than any other superstar player in the history of COD, and for that reason, I mean, he's just number 2. A lot of people have Damon as their GOAT. I think Damon and Krim are interchangeable, but I guess since Krim is still playing, that is why he gets my number 1 spot. Krim, 34 plus championships, multiple MVPs.
Dude, Krim 6 is fucking ass. No, I'm just playing, bro. I'm just playing. Porter's good. Porter's good as fuck. I don't mind Porter at number 1. Bro, honestly, I don't mind Nameless'S top 10. I think he has a good top 10. I just don't like Scump at 4. I think Scump should be in the top 3, like maybe at 3rd. I don't mind arguing Clay, Karma, and Krim as top 3. I just think Scump should be in the top 3. Like, I think the top 5 of Formal Clay, Scump, Karma, Krim, in that order is where I'd have mine. Formal, Clay, Scump, Karma, Krim. Just because I'll give it to you with all the accomplishments and what Karma did and what Krim did. Like, obviously, those guys are fucking, you can't win events without people like that on your team. So I don't mind. I really don't mind Crim and Karma at number 2. The number 3 spot, I personally would have Scump in the top 3. But I mean, it's all, you know, it's just his opinion. You know, it's nothing wrong with it. But it comes to personal opinion. The top 4 and criteria used, yeah, no, it is. I think when you come to the top 3, top 4, top 5, it comes down to personal opinions and stuff like that. But being a sub player and knowing what you need to do to be at the highest level, bro, the reason why I'm putting Scump in my top 3 is because he's a sub player. Crim, Karma, and Clay, and Formal are all in the top 5, and none of them are subs. But Scump is a sub, and that is something that I guess as a sub player, I just admire. Maybe it's just me because I was a sub player and I understand how hard it was to, you know, be on top of the game. Bro, being the main submachine gun player is the most impactful role in Call of Duty. And personally, I think that's unarguable. I know people might argue that with me, but I think being the, you know, the main submachine gun player on a team is the hardest role to play. And I just think Scump over the years, his consistency as a main submachine gun player and what he's been able to do, not only the accomplishments, but even the stat sheet and everything else, like, and the eye test and all that shit. I mean, I'm definitely having Scump in my top 3 for sure. 21 through 30 may be the world's hardest thing to rank. No. Your 21 through 30 Nameless was dirt shit. It was terrible.
3-time world championship.
Now, and I agree with your top 10. I don't mind the top 10. I don't mind the top. I didn't even mind 11 through like 15, like 11 to 20th. Still thought it was a little fugazi from like 15 to 20th. But once you got to like top 10, top 15, like you're in the right ballpark. I don't disagree with you. But there's definitely people in here with like some of the things you were saying about Rambo and Pristini. I think Crowder deserves to be somewhere on here. And then some of the arguments you were making for people in like 15 through 20th, like from 11th to 20th, I think those arguments can easily be made for myself, Octane, Kenny. Like I think we should be up there too, personally. And I definitely think some players should be moved around. Like, I love Big T and Rambo and some of these pioneers that you were saying, but I wouldn't put them over people like Octane, me, Kenny. Like, you know, I just don't agree with it. But it's all opinionated. What are you going to do?
Part of 2 dynasties, Crim. This guy, I think this guy is just the FPS GOAT. I like playing against him in his prime was terrifying. Like, honestly, like you guys know me. If you remember when I competed, I was delusionally confident. But going up against Crim, it was like, okay,
wait,
this is
you
going to be a tough.
Gunless? Hey, yo, Ant, did you forget about Gunless? Oh, and Proofy. Hey, Ant, Proofy disrespectful, bro. What the fuck? And you don't put Gunless in your top 30, and you wouldn't change that, Ant? You would keep Gunless outside? Gunless was on the list, and I removed him at first. Bro, you had Proofy, Big T, and Rambo over Gunless. What?
Tough match. I never had that feeling against anyone else. Like, Crim was a extremely tough player to play against. He would take over games and just destroy your team. Like in his prime, people look at Simp and they're like, okay, Simp, best player in the game. Like that guy must be a nightmare to play against. And yes, I've never played against Simp really outside of S&D tournaments, but I've played against Crim. And I'll tell you what, it looked worse than what I'm seeing Simp do to some people. But yeah, Crim, he's been competing for a very long time.
What? Nah, see, I definitely disagree. Crim wasn't doing what Simp's doing. Crim was not doing what Simp's doing. Simp is fucking a whole different breed, bro. What Simp's doing is literally hasn't been seen before. Crim was godlike. I'm not saying he wasn't godlike, but I don't agree with that statement.
Long time. He's won a ton of championships. Everybody wanted him on their team at some point. Everybody probably still wants him on their team for the most part. And he's still getting it done. He's still building solid roster. He's still placing very well, and he's still having individually great performances. The guy is he's like the Jordan of COD, man. He's been competing forever. He's been dominating forever, and he is the GOAT of COD, point blank, period.
And I'm not changing it either. I like Crim at number 1. I like Crim, Karma, Clay, Scump, Forma as the top 5. You guys can interchange like all those however you want. It's all opinionated. I actually don't mind Nameless's list. The last 2 videos were completely fine. They're fine. It's all very opinionated when it comes down to like the little things on where you put people. But in terms of like keeping it a broad statement, who's your top 10, who's your top 15, no order. Like I think you hit it on the nose. Like I don't think it was bad. The 15 through 30, bro, that was trash. That was trash. That didn't make no sense to me. But yo, hey, I think it's cool that you made this video. I think it's cool that you're like, fuck it, bro. Like people aren't gonna agree with me, and who gives a shit? You know what I'm saying? But hey, bro, good video, man. Good video, bro. It was a good one. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know, bro. I know a lot of you guys want to see me make a video, and I'm down to do this. Honestly, me and Ben could do this on the flank. We could probably do this on the flank, but I mean, it gets a little complicated. It gets really fucking complicated. My list, my top 15 from Nameless'S top 15, except for like certain people being interchanged, probably won't change much. My 15 to 30